Hello and welcome to Decorating Pages podcast. I am your host, Kim Wannop. I'm enjoying this holiday season. I was out and about the last couple weeks in a handful of holiday events, either by the Television Academy or personal ones, or out there saying hi, saying Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. And it's been really nice to get out and see people and share a little holiday joy. I know that it's not joyful that everyone, the majority of the people, I would say that I spoke with, were not working. And there's so many articles about what's wrong with Hollywood, how can we get back, this incentive and this and that. And I think one of the things that at least I haven't read that is one of the problems is even if you are on a show, they used to come back every 4 months and you could sustain that. But I mean, I'm talking to people where the time period between shows is 6 to 11 months, over a year. So that's another big problem with sustaining our industry is the cycle of which seasons are being produced and made here. It's not, and you're getting less. So I think that's one of the things I don't feel like I've seen in articles being discussed, but I have very much picked up on that with friends and colleagues and strangers of who I've spoken to in the last couple weeks. So we know that that's the problem too. Shorter seasons and too much time in between seasons. That's also hurting Los Angeles. So yeah, I'm going to start out with a bummer there. I just wanted to get it off my chest because I was like, no one's talking about that. And I don't know how to solve it. I mean, I can't solve it. But you're not alone if you're out there waiting for your next season to start and it's been 8 months. So don't feel like you're the only show because I feel like I've talked to many shows who have that going on. So during this holiday season, man, I watch a lot of holiday cartoons with my boys and, a holiday movie. Almost every night we put something on. Did A Wonderful Life this week, The Grinch, cartoon. They didn't go for the Jim Carrey. I don't know if it's too weird for them. They're 7. So they didn't want to do the Jim Carrey one, but all of those stop animation ones from I think the 60s, the Rudolph and The Night Before Christmas, they're so great. They're just so classic. I love watching them every year. I also love watching Die Hard every year. I put that on the other night. Holds up. Still great. Love it. And what else is one up watching? Pluribus. It took me a day and a half to get through those 7 episodes. I wanted to wait till they were all out and then binge it, but I went to a party and I knew I was going to see the production designer, Denise Pizzini, and I was like, oh, I better watch one of these before I speak to her. And then I was like, oh, wait, I can't just watch one. I got to watch the next one and I might as well finish it. So why not? So yeah, that was 2 days of my life. Congratulations to them, Denise Pizzini and set decorator Ashley Michelle Marsh, who have both been on this podcast before talking about Better Call Saul. They have worked together previously. They did a phenomenal job with the sets and just the whole look of this deserted world. So bravo to them. I can't wait to finish the series. If you have not, I think the submission date is passed because voting starts yesterday. Yeah, Monday, the 15th, for the Art Directors Guild Awards, but you can go and look up your competition or just dork out like I do on the ADG website because most of the submission presentations are up and you can look at everyone's drawings and what they built for that episode, and it's fascinating to me. I love to look at people's work. I should say I spoke to the designers and decorator of Avatar and was dying for some set photos of things I wanted to talk about and I feel like I barely found anything online. I mean, I did my best, but I said to them, hey, your presentation isn't up. And he was like, it is today, which I had already, been ready for the interview. So that's up if you want to go look at the Avatar one. And yeah. So let's talk about what we got coming up. We're going to end this year with a bang, I got to say. We are today we have Sinners. We have an Oscar winner and Monique Champagne, which you can't get any better than that name. And then the next 2 weeks, next week we have Overcompensating with production designer Shane Fox and her decorator Erica Laboco. And I'm also going to be having a special segment because I interviewed, quotes, the production designer Rae Song-hai for No Other Choice, which is a Korean film. And we, through a translator, swapped question and answers. And so I will have that also at the top of the episode next week. So it's interesting. If you haven't seen the film, I love it because it's the director of Old Boy, which is one of my favorite films. And so I found the film really, really well done. No Other Choice. And then our last episode of the year will be Avatar. And maybe some what I think would and should win in design competitions for the year. And just talk about the year in film and maybe a top 5. I don't know. Maybe I'll throw that in there. Who knows? I get excited. Those last episodes of the year are always very exciting. So let's talk about today's episode because it's a big one. So let's get to it. Sinners is Ray Coogler's 1932 Mississippi Delta vampire epic. Twins played by Michael B. Jordan. You know I love a twin. A juke joint in an old sawmill. Plantations, hoodoo, the church, the Klan, capitalism, the blues. And it's now sitting right in the middle of Best Picture, Best Production Design buzz. I'm not kidding. I mean, this film came out in the summertime and it hasn't lost an ounce of buzz, I don't think. It's one of those movies where you can just feel the synergy of all of the crafts in every frame. My guests today are Oscar-winning production designer Hannah Beachler, whose work you would know from Black Panther, which she won for, Creed, Moonlight, and so many more, and set decorator Monique Champagne, who I talked to last year about Nickel Boys, which I thought was Best Picture last year, who has come back to speak about their film, Sinners. So, what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about these builds that they put on empty landscapes so that the land itself becomes a character. Designing one of the main characters' houses as this warm, healing, but like hoodoo, kind of like a voodoo, meets capitalism space that quietly explains the whole economic system of this plantation. They rebuilt an entire downtown from an abandoned moldy buildings into a living, breathing 1930s black business district. They built a juke joint as a full-on building right by a real bayou full of alligators so that Ryan could get that shot, that long oneer, and never cheat a wall. So many things that they describe in this of their process and dealing with the story, this rich story, and there's vampires in it. I think it's really one of the best pictures of the year. I really enjoyed it, and I've said so, and I was obsessed with it in summertime. I have a small video about the sets that I put out then, but you absolutely can check out the YouTube video and look at all of the sets that we're working on. You can listen to this podcast and watch it on YouTube, in case you didn't know. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did because I just love talking to these two gals. So I hope you enjoy. I'd say I interviewed Monique last year for Nickel Boys, and Monique, I don't know how many times throughout the year I have said your name like in my head. Like, Monique Champagne. Like, it's the best name.
It's a crazy name to have as like a tomboy.
Oh my God, that's too great.
I love it.
I love it. So and if I told one person, I told 20 people Nickel Boys was the best film I saw all last year, and you
Until
guys.
you saw Sinners.
Well, that was last year. Now I'm talking last year. This year, I mean, you guys did a fantastic job, and I gotta say, after watching it again this past week, I don't see why it wouldn't be nominated. It has so much more going on than just vampires. It has such a deep, like, historical story in there and such emotion. I mean, I cried. I cried because I have twin boys, so I
Oh,
cried when.
oh wow.
So I mean, I didn't feel their pain, but I cried a little because I was like, oh my God, two brothers like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such
Yeah.
a great film. Um, were you super stoked to get into this and do like this horror? Well, it's not really horror though. I mean, it is, but like I said, it's so much more.
I mean, in the beginning, I like when I before even Ryan even started writing the script and before he told me anything about it, I just heard about it. Like, oh, there's this. He's doing a movie and it has vampires, and I'm like, oh, like I started out in horror in New Orleans, in Baton Rouge. Not even New Orleans. It was Baton. Let's just be real. It was Baton.
Baton Rouge.
And, we were throwing blood everywhere. I'm like, I got this. Like, I know, I know how to throw blood
Yeah.
and make it spooky. Like put bloody footprints. I know how to do this. And then he like around October, November before we shot the movie, um, he sort of called me and told me like, okay, this is the story, and he was getting more into writing the script. And then I quickly realized like it's not. It's a movie that has vampires in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's the brother. I mean, this story about brothers and about community and about, historical facts and bringing all of that to life. It's intertwined so beautifully. It's such a good film. And I feel like everyone I know has seen it and loved it. It's one of those films. It's like, yeah, yeah, that was good. Wasn't that good? Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
that.
I think it's been amazing to kind of like watch like the entire internet like try to unpack Sinners.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like it's not like just the story about sinners, it's also like a story about us. And so that's been really cool to see people just like dig in there and have real conversations and confront real feelings and like it's just wild and beautiful to witness in real time how all that unfolded, just to see how it inspired so many people. Like, Hannah, did you see the little kids reenact the trailer?
I did not.
Oh,
I
really?
I can't. I tried to find it the other day to send it to you. I'm gonna have to find it. Is crazy. Like all the people who were inspired by this film. I don't think like when I first met Hannah, she was like, "This is Ryan's most amazing work. Like you really put it in me that like you believed in this project so much." And but I didn't like. I don't think I could grasp it until I saw it. And then
Mm.
I saw it and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it changed me and it expanded what I believe art can do. And like that, I don't know, it's like I'm still discovering ways in which it's changed my life. And I don't mean to sound dramatic or whatever,
No,
but I
you.
even go back to the experience of like working with Hannah. And yeah, what a treat.
Well, it's also what you two have brought to this screen and what has been brought design wise and decorating wise to each set and to the story. I mean, when I saw it in the summer, I actually did like a set obsessed video about it because of the prayer cards that you had hanging of such a
That was Hannah's idea. That really,
wonderful
yeah.
detail, which I'll get to in a second. But like the details are phenomenal in this film, and I mean, I wanted to start with the church and how that the importance of this and the starkness of this for the film.
I love this shot. When Autumn sent me this shot, like she sent me a still of this, I was like, and it hit me right away. I was like, this is a Southern American Gothic
Yeah,
Mhm.
film.
so
Like
beautiful.
the picture says that, and it's classic. And I wanted these. buildings to be, because Ryan had talked to me about like Sergio Leone and, all of those old Tom Ford, like,
Mm,
big landscapes, right?
yeah.
Big vistas. And there was usually like a person on that landscape or two people on that landscape juxtaposed, or uh, one thing, right? One shape that stood out amongst the giant landscape. And also the same you kind of felt in Big Fish.
Right.
That was Dennis Gassner and Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got these shapes, these really extreme shapes. And that's what I was like, okay, Ryan's talking about these big landscapes. I want to do these sort of small buildings on these big landscapes because I want to push the idea of the land being so important and the ownership of that land, right? Because we're on two plantations, we're in a downtown, um, and how important it is, and the difference between, or I should say, disparity between the wealth and the poverty,
Right.
um, and that plantations were like in Annie's story, you see like they became communities in the sense of even after slavery, people still lived and worked on plantations
Right.
because I think in some instances, where else do you go?
I might have a photo of that. I think I have. Well,
And the
I have her house.
Annie.
I think I might just have her house but yeah, I mean, when you were scouting for these locations, you're just looking for open land at this point, right? Because all of these are builds. So you're
Yeah.
looking, yeah, yeah,
And it has to be the right location, the right piece of land, the right feeling on that piece of land, because we live at quite a few places. And that's one thing, Ryan is really, really giving with is like when I feel that in a locate, like this is it. And, I'll take him and I'll walk him through and we'll talk about it. And it really is a feeling.
mm,
And I think because we're so kind of in sync when it comes to these things, he's like, yes, and then when we are starting to put the build up and they're starting to become real and Monique is dressing them and decorating them, if like, okay, this is the right place because you can feel. And then just in proximity for me, because Ryan likes to not have a lot of, he doesn't like to cheat things, right?
mm,
Like it needs to be one thing. And like the church, it's like when you're standing over at Sammy's, you see the church. And
right,
when you're in the church, you see the neighborhood in the background.
right,
And he play with that,
yeah,
right? And that was important to connect those things as we are on, Sunflower Plantation. So the cotton field that Sammy's picking in, and he goes home, get his guitar, and then he goes to this. That's all in one location. That's one place. So we tried to do that as much as possible with every location, is to be able to connect like all of the things like the downtown. It's like we needed to have the store across the street from the store, and that is not an easy thing to find.
right,
And,
right,
and then we needed to have at least enough stores to sort of create the mood and the tone of the town. And so, yeah, a lot goes into as much goes into finding the location. Ryan talked about he wants oak trees. And I'm like, I know right where it should be, Creedmoor Plantation. And so yeah,
Well,
it's it
I actually have a question about the oak trees because I've shot. I mean, there's such, at least in California, and I'm sure everywhere, you can't touch these oak trees, and you can't touch the roots, and you can't like they're very into preserving the oak trees. So when I saw this, I was like, wow, did you guys like plop it in? Did you build it somewhere else and plop it in? Because I know how gentle the I mean, they're strong oak trees, but like location managers and property owners are not into you like messing around with them.
well, we built it on site
Mm,
right there. And you know, again, this is on a real plantation,
mm.
right? And it's privately owned. And I think the actual house is falling apart right after the last hurricane.
Oh wow.
Other films have built like at the front of the property, there's other stuff that films have built. But I don't, yes, the oaks are protected. I think certain oaks, like there's junk oaks that aren't protected,
Mm,
but we just have to be careful. And And that's when you have a good crew.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like, don't down the oak.
Everyone cares. Yeah, yeah. Everyone has to care. No trash.
You
When you,
can't throw in the oak.
yeah, when you're thinking about Annie's house, what did you want to? I mean, she's such a special character, and she becomes loved over the course of the film. Like you don't want her to go away. But what did you give? What did you build this house with her intention of having? And then Monique, what kind of details did you give for her?
I mean, the house, it wanted to be a place where she's feeding the laborers that come out of the field at lunchtime. It wanted to be a place where it's also a communal, like, general store for the plantation, because she's taking the plantation money, and you can only use plantation money on that plantation because it's not worth anything.
Mm,
And that was the trick, right? Is that it's still slavery.
right.
Yeah.
It's still in their
Still,
world. It's
it's
still
still in that world,
yeah.
but you are now it's like, well, now I have this paper that doesn't mean anything, that feels like I'm getting something. And that speaks to the bigger point of capitalism, because now we have paper, green stuff. And how much does it mean to you in your
Right.
life? Like, what is that going to get you at the end of the day? Does it give you love? Can you take it with you? It's that idea, like, what does money mean?
Right.
Any Like, what is the worth of it? Here it's worthless. And they talk about that several times throughout the film.
Yeah.
So, Annie's wanted to be a place where you can go and get medicine, because she's from New Orleans originally and practices hoodoo. So, there is, I remember talking to Monique and some of the research where you would flatten a dime and then put holes in it and put it around your ankle. And that
Hmm.
helped you with, like, swelling of your joints. It helped with also warding off bad luck, that type of healing, right? Which is in opposition and the twin, if you will, to the church and the grocery
Right.
store.
Right.
It's a different type of spirituality. It's a different type of religion. Like, the church is like the religion that we know, and hoodoo is the religion that we're afraid of. And so they're still healing people in a different way. And it also opens up the conversation about, like, well, what is religion necessarily?
Well,
Is it is
it's
it different than the juke joint?
right. Well, it's funny too because her hoodoo and then some of the Christianity things like the holy water and things like that come into play and play together to work against, what they're fighting. So it is,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Her knowledge of what those things are
right,
would come from a certain um mysticism, right? A certain understanding of demons and haints. And that's not something you're going to talk about, haints or vampires, in the church, right?
right, right,
So
right,
then, in order to destroy them, then you need this religion. So you really have to think about what all of that kind of means. It goes far beyond, are we destroying, is this idea of, and I think it's baptism for Jedediah, or in what I would call traditional religion, at anyways, Christianity, is destroying the demon, and hoodoo is identifying it. Like, what is the demon really?
right,
So there's so much that you can just sort of dig. And like Monique was saying, it was so much fun to see people unpack it all, because
yeah,
they were unpacking it. And it was delightful to see, like, oh, some people would bring up things that I didn't even think. Oh,
Yeah.
and that's once you have the baby, it's everybody's. And
right,
everybody gets an opinion and what that means, because the idea, and I think the brilliance of Ryan Coogler, is that something means something to everybody in a different way. And that's okay, because that's how we're supposed to live. If you listen to Plato, is that we all are allowed to have these different ideas and opinions and feelings. The point of it is, like, to just don't kill each other.
right,
If you
right. We can,
so, you know, do your thing, don't kill people. And so all of this collides together, and I think Annie's was a really good point of seeing those things come together, of the idea of capitalism, the idea of spirituality and religion,
right.
and the idea of healing.
Mhm. Yeah, we had fun with Annie's. Hannah just kept like driving home the things she was just saying and just making sure we understood that it was like about healing and nurturing and community. And so the things that we brought in there were serving a purpose. And it's one of my favorite sets for sure. It's so sweet.
Did you? So she has stuff on the outside, and she's making stuff on the inside, and you did this great thing while making her windows like the menu, right? That's what's on sale, or that's the menu of the day,
Yeah.
which I thought
That's
was
the
so
menu.
really
Mhm.
fantastic. Um, the outside too. I mean, the build of this is fantastic. The aging on it, the even to me like that it's slightly slanted, like it's almost like falling down kind
Hannah
of.
Hannah literally drew it like this in her
Oh my
notebook.
god.
I have a picture of this somewhere. Like it's this really, I want to frame it. It's just like this little hand drawn, slightly slouched. I mean, it looks exactly like the drawing in her sketchbook.
How
It really does. It looks exactly. Also, like I just want to give some flowers to the scenic department here.
oh my god, the scenic is they're amazing in the barn and everything. Oh, it's
I mean,
fantastic.
they nailed it. They nailed. I was just in awe in this space with them. I mean, it was, yeah,
The
they were.
aging's on the roof, the all the roofs and
The, sh-
everything. Oh my
the
god.
shingles on this one are individual shingles that they soaked so they would warp.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look at
Then
that.
they aged each single shingle for this roof. There was hundreds of them, and it took forever. And each, if we couldn't salvage the wood, um, or kind of we would create it from rough sawn. And because it seeped, it kind of did its own aging, but it would also, as it dried, grayed.
Mm,
And as you know, it's really hard to get that gray, that like without it looking like you painted on
the age.
something.
Yeah.
It's
One
so
of my favorite stories is from Tim, our art director. This was like one of his first sets, and he was like so excited, and he was just. I don't know. I loved him. Like maybe one day I'll talk to him, but just sweet, super cool guy. But on one of Hannah's first passes, like all the wood was new, and Hannah walked up and always so kind. Like any notes were always with kindness and love. And you were like, he tells his story better, but you were like, great, you made your first set. I don't do sets. Let's start over. And like had to get all old wood and do a better aging job. And like he was just like, oh shit, okay. Like, and he started over. And I mean, and it ended up looking like this, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that's one of my favorite Tim stories of you.
funny. And I did. I was like,
Yeah.
Good job.
Good
good
job.
job.
Okay, now let's
Take it all apart
take
and
it.
Let's try again.
Try it again. We'll get it. We'll get there.
We're gonna get there. We are gonna
How
get there.
how much prep time did you guys have?
Well, I was just mentioning this and not to like just totally repeat myself, but one of the coolest things for me about working on Sinners was like working with Hannah, who I don't know, like I don't want to just like repeat myself because we just said all this, but like Hannah has so much wisdom and comes from such a deep background of this whole world that she really fought for us. So I felt really supported. I felt like we had the time we needed, we had the resources we needed,
Oh, that's great.
more so than on like any other show I've ever worked on. And she really went in there in the beginning and fought for us all to have those things because I think because she comes from a background of like growing up in a family of artists and then being in the art department as like a set dresser and then a set decorator and working her way up to become a designer, she was able to anticipate like any of the problems that we would have. And because of her relationship with Ryan and her wanting to give Ryan everything that he deserves and needs, there was no room for some bullshittery. Like she just went in there and got us what we needed. And like anyone who tried to, gaslight us into thinking we didn't need what we need. Just it just didn't work because she knows her shit. So it was just like, no, we need this because of this, and if we don't do this, it's going to result in this. And so we had time to give these sets
Oh my God, Hannah,
the
can you teach that to every production designer? Can you please?
yes, can you teach a master class,
Please.
please?
How to talk to
Yeah.
producers by.
Yeah. So we were set up for
Well known for
success.
that.
No, well, there's nothing like having that support, having time, and having the resources, and feeling like this is a good budget. I'm not sweating it every day
Right.
because you do. There's many projects you just sweat it almost every day of like, man, I really need to
Yeah.
spend this. I know I'm going to spend this much, but I really need to like budget this out because it's a big film. You got a
Yeah.
whole street here. I mean, the store to me is crazy amount of
Next level.
crazy amount. I mean, I did screenshots when I watched it too because I was like, I gotta get in here because there are hundreds of products that you had, labels made for, and it's a
Yes.
pretty big store. And then she walks over to the other store.
I mean, not just labels. They were making boxes. They were making
Signage.
buying stuff, all the fresh food, all of the sign, like in two not small grocery stores.
No,
Yeah.
they're huge. They're huge.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you have your own graphics person, Monique?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had 5 graphics people at
Oh
some
my God.
point helping us. We had 2 that were on full time, and then we had like 3 swing.
Wow.
Yeah, but for the store, we pulled in some help for this one. And again, that was because we were able to ask for what we needed, and then we got what we needed. And this is just a good example of this store would have never looked that way otherwise. I mean, Hannah was busy with so many other things that I knew she couldn't deal with the minutia of these sets, but I knew that we had to have the minutia.
Oh,
And I mean, we maybe rented a handful of things that were like pre-boxed and sent to us from, I don't even remember, Warner Brothers lot or something, but
maybe history.
they didn't look as good. They were super used, so I didn't even want to put them on the set half the time because they just kind of looked fake. So we really had a dedicated team working on this moment, and that's the only reason we were able to pull this off.
There's also something with it so quickly introduces these two characters with their wardrobe, and then the amount of products in the store and the pride that they're putting into their store. Like, you guys made it read perfectly because it's not a long scene to me. And I'm like, that's a big dress for not a long scene. Like, that's a big dress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for the wides, Autumn.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, always the wides. Yes.
Always the wides.
Yeah. I always tell my DBs, keep it wide. Keep it wide. But yeah, brilliant. I love the story, the whole street, just all the signage on the street. So this is a real town, or did you build this?
No, this is a town.
This
This
is
is a town that was kind of an empty town. All of the buildings that we were in had nothing in them except for mold.
Yeah.
Mold. Yeah.
Some of it, I was like, hazmats, we need to get cleared.
Yep.
Nobody can come in here. This is
Yep.
so we were working, from nothing.
Wow.
There was nothing in these buildings. It was, what's interesting to me is that when I went to do my research scout in Clarksdale, it very much resembled the state of this town before we got there. And it's almost like we were doing to this town what has been done to Clarksdale, where at one point it was a hop-in place with all of the things and the people and the business and the commerce. And now there's nothing. There's a few businesses, but it's mostly empty. And some of the businesses that were once there are now sort of museum window businesses. And we took this from nothing back to commerce, back to having it be busy. So it's like, it was kind of, again, we just found these great locations, right? These perfect locations. And one thing that I wanted to make sure of, any town that we used had to be the right time period. It had to be built and up within 20, I think 20 years of what I wanted, within 20 years of what we were shooting for in 1932. And this was in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Donald out in New Orleans.
The locations are great. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, because okay. Find us a street. You know what I mean? Like built within this time period and make it
Yep.
work and and you're lucky. You're pretty lucky that all those businesses were out of business, because then you gotta buy off all those people. You gotta clear out all their stores. So
Yeah.
it's either
And
one devil or the other.
some of the towns that we did look at that everybody liked were completely occupied businesses, and I was like, no.
Yeah. Good.
Because that's why it's
Yeah.
going to be more cost efficient,
Yeah.
have more control if we go into empty buildings and build them. Now it's going to be harder for us. And the one thing I want to say is, like, I understand as a designer that you are nothing without your crew. So why would you withhold anything from them if you can fight to get it for them? And as a set decorator, I was in that exact position where it's like you didn't feel supported. They were saying crazy things like, here's a picture I want it to be like, but I don't want it to be like that. So go. And you're like,
Yeah.
what?
I want to
You
be
don't even
organized chaos. Cool. Got it.
hear that one more time.
Oh my God. I've heard it so many times. I've heard it so many
None
times.
of that makes sense. And, be sensible about it. Treat people with respect. Understand that they are also creatives who have an aesthetic and have been working in the business for a really long time and have a lot of experience. And then let's all discover together,
Yeah.
like what it, and the paint team and the construction team. Also, we had to find the time to do the process, to go through and figure out how do we can't find all the wood, we can't salvage, right? Because you can only find the wood on the top of the pile that's going to work. Anything below isn't going to be the right type of wood. So we still had to have new wood that we had to take back. Some of it was rough sawn, some of it was not, but it all had to, most of it was rough sawn. I'd say 95% of it was rough sawn. But like framing things up and stuff, like the store, because that wall didn't exist there.
Oh, that's the building.
We built that wall, yeah. And the inside of that is framed with 2x4s and whatnot. So but anything else, it had to be dimensional, because that's what they were using back then. They weren't using, 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. They were using 2 inches by 4 inches, or 10 inches by 10 inches. And as boring as that is to everybody, I can really promise you that one day on the set, a grip came up to me and said, "Is that like a true 4x4?"
Thoroughly
Yes,
impressed.
yes, sir. And I said, "He saw it."
That's all. That's all you need. That's all you need.
This is when if anyone's ever like, what's Hannah Beachler like? I'm like, she's an artist, like about people for people. Like that's how, like, I mean, I could describe you in a million ways, but like it's true. It's like she's thinking about not only the next level design and the like deeply researched and like just
I love research.
like philosophical interpretations of the story, but then she's also like, all right, there's people behind this who are going to do this work, and I know because I've seen it done. So yeah, like how do I set it up to get what I want, instead of just saying like, oh, I want this thing that's insane, and leaving you to try to figure out how to work through these scraps to get there. So I think Hannah made the whole art department.
I mean, Hannah's logical. Hannah is logical. Is that you mean?
Yeah. Well, it's right. You and I know that.
Some people are delusional. Some people are logical.
It goes back to me actually coming up through set deck side as At one point, I was a carpenter, I was a painter, I was a scenic, I was a set dresser, I was an on-set dresser, I was a set deck buyer, I was a set decorator. I only was an art director once, it wasn't successful. And I was only an art department coordinator once, and I quit because I was like, what is this? Like, this is no. And so, and I welded for like 5 seconds. But when you do the work, and you do all of those things and you learn, like, Gene Sardina was a mentor of mine, and Maher Ahmad, like they were on the very first thing I did as a set dresser, and Grant Sampson, they all like, you know, really, because it was a 9 month movie, really like took me under their wing and was like, this is, Grant would be like, this is how you rig lights. This is how you wire lights. And Gene would talk about composition,
Yeah,
and
Gene's great.
talk about the build. Gene was fantastic. I love Gene. And so it's like I was very lucky to experience all that, but I also understand how much work goes into it because I moved on a dolly
Mm,
all of the filing cabinets,
right,
right?
right.
Moved the couches. I
Sliders.
did the thing. Moonlight was me plus four people. So someone
Oh
had
my
to
God.
Incredible. That's incredible.
That's incredible.
and put everything into this place and take everything out. Like it was me and a decorator doing all of that.
That's so
So
wild.
like, she drove the truck and then we loaded it together.
Oh my
That
God.
that is absolutely one piece of advice I give to people is you have to work your way up. You can't just be a decorator. You can't. You have to do all these other jobs so that you know what those jobs really entail. So when you're asking for something, you know who to ask to do it. And it will give you insight as to what everyone else is doing. You have to work your way up in this business. I think it's invaluable, really.
And
Totally.
also, if you want to be a decorator, you want to be a designer, and you're on a set, and the producer looks at you and says, well, how much is all this going to cost? Well, you've done the job, so
Yeah.
you know how to calculate the hours like right then. You know what
Mhm.
the construction is going to cost because this is how much wood we're going to use, and this is how much labor we're going to use. You're this much more valuable.
Yes.
Because I can look at the producer and be like, this is going to be 250 within 5 seconds of standing in
Mhm.
place. Now, that might determine other things, when they hear that. They might be like, oh, that's great. Or they might be like, okay, well, let's find a smaller thing. And it opens up conversations so you can move quicker. So,
Yeah.
and I also know what to fight for people. Like I went through it. And some of these films didn't come out because we weren't supported, right?
Yeah.
And when it's Ryan, when it's anybody, but when it's Ryan, who is what I consider my little brother, my family, like we need to be on point. This has to be right. There's more to it than just like whatever, just throwing some old
Yeah.
1932 stuff on film, and then it will move people because that's what he does,
Yeah.
right? So for me, I'm not just, fighting because I want a great set. I'm fighting because I want this story to be told in the way that Ryan envisioned it, in the way that I interpret it, and for other people to also put themselves in it, which is what Monique has done in this film.
Absolutely.
Really just grasp everything, like I said before, like I did not have to worry every time she showed me something that was right. I'd always be so excited to sneak in her office with Ryan and show him everything after she left. Because I don't want to be weird, right? I don't want to the director weird. But it would be like, oh, let's go look at the curtains, or oh, you have to see this.
Oh, yeah.
You have to see this, like you know what I mean? Like we were in there a lot, Monique.
Uh-uh.
She's like just finding this out.
I think
But
that trust that Ryan had in you was like so special, and you extending that trust to your team was I just kind of like everything. I mean, I I just wanted to listen to everything they were saying. Like I just wanted to
Mm,
hear every little thing like that they were talking about because I really wanted to have that vision reflected back to them without question. And I think Ryan and Hannah's relationship was so sweet and cool and hilarious, and you like Ryan just trusted Hannah. I mean, like you knew that he knew it was going to be fine. And that was a responsibility that I picked up. I was like, okay, we're not playing around here. Like these two have a thing. and I really need to bring it, and that responsibility never felt heavy to me. It felt fun. And so I looked forward to bringing things to them that would make them both look at each other like, okay, cool, let's roll camera, and but she gave me a lot of breathing room to be able to do that. And so truly it's an honor. Like, I think back on it now even with more gratitude, every time I think about it, honestly.
It's such a good way to put it that, you get this responsibility and you feel trusted and you want, and I'm going to run with it and be happy with it. Like, it's not, it doesn't, it does become less of a burden when like, they trust me with this. I know I can do
Mhm.
this. I know I'm going to do what
Yeah.
they want because I'm just as excited as they are to put this on
Yeah,
screen,
and also
get these
like
details.
Hannah had did so much research and
Mm.
is like
Research.
guiding us with so much clarity, and like it was never wishy-washy. It was never like she wasn't sure about a thing. It was like, this is what I learned in my research, this is how it made me feel, and this is how I want these characters to feel inside of that space. Go.
Oh, that's
and
great.
and it was cool. I mean, we had so much research, like it was fun. We had these big binders, and so we would look through all the research, we would read the script out loud for whatever set we were in with the whole team. We had so much fun. And we would be like, okay, um, like what would Hannah expect this person to have in this space? What would this person have in this space? Like, it was truly like, yeah, one of the best experiences of my career for sure.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
I
Oh,
mean, you,
that's awesome.
you killed the shit. You
What we all
killed,
want.
nailed it.
The space of it was a sawmill, right? Was that what it was? Was it a sawmill or
Did you?
yeah.
Sawmill? Yeah.
Um the they're putting together this juke joint for the night, and the dressing that you guys like put inside, and the little like
One more thing about Hannah and what you're speaking to, just so because I don't want to forget the dressing in the juke, the dressing in the church, the like Hannah isn't scared to not just put a bunch of shit everywhere. Like a lot of people get nervous and they're like, put a bunch of stuff in the corner, or like hang a piece of artwork on every single wall, or get these layers, or like put a bunch of boxes on top of boxes with a bunch of paperwork and old newspapers. Get the old newspapers, like Hannah, even in like Moonlight, I noticed this. Like in the church, in the juke, Hannah, you were so like, you kept being like, we don't like you, that shelf, like right when you walk into the juke, that shelf on the back wall, you were like, we don't have to put that much stuff on that shelf. She kept reminding us like, they just made this, they just got here. So like, you don't have to go overboard with set dressing. And that's rare. And I think
that is
it's
rare.
because she's confident in like her vision, and she knows what she wants, and she's not trying to like fluff it with some shit. And
I don't think it's rare with designers. I think it's rare with directors and DPs.
mm,
I think DPs usually want something on the wall. Oh, can you move that?
yeah, that's a good point. Well, I
Scoot
think
that
I've had
over.
I think it's I have had a lot of designers make me just fill spaces, and I'm just like, can we just have a white wall?
Oh,
Like,
I love a white wall.
but that was also a treat to just be like, let the spaces kind of breathe.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what I mean in the juke joint. I mean, the lights are so warm and make this place feel like you want to come in and dance, like you want to come here. And you have the piano, and then this, you have a stage here that the performers are what you're looking at. I'm not distracted by something behind them or something that they put up. I mean, it's a great chevron to pattern back there,
Yeah.
but I love that it's like we just got this. But we're the music and being together is what we're here for. We're not here to like jazz this place up as much. And I love a blank wall. I love a blank wall.
Well, I mean,
Ew.
she was doing so much with the wood and the
Yeah.
aging of the wood and the way the wood, the shape of the wood, like even in the church. She could speak more to that, but she was really focused on these huge builds. And so I was hoping to take a little bit off of her plate with bringing the set deck and trying to nail it so that she could focus on I mean, like, you built the exterior of the mill out in a swamp with alligators.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Was that water real? Or did you
The water
influence?
behind the juke?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Or did you build that?
it was built on we built no, the water was there except for like when they go in the water. So
Yeah.
this shot, okay.
Yeah.
So like part of me all of a sudden I was like, let me annotate. I'm not gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
like I'm not on that meeting right now. Um, where they're standing, right behind them is the bayou. But we, like maybe 2 feet off of the shore of the bayou, dug a trench to put water because the bayou was filled with alligators.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And it's like, and when we had dug the big like pool trench, like in the earth right there. So basically, they just took out that 2 foot strip to make it one
Right.
body of. But when we first dug it and they, to the, we came out to the spot, there were like alligators sunning
Oh my God.
on it. Like, look what they made for us.
Yeah.
Come and chill. Like whenever anybody was there, they would just be like, "Hey, there's people here. Maybe they'll feed us." And they would sit
Gator
on,
Wrangler.
we did. We had one, and they were pulling them out and all kinds of stuff.
Oh
But
my
that
God.
was a real body of water. We found the location. It was, do or die. I was like, we're not gonna have the water because Ryan needs the water, and
Yeah.
and even though the alligators will figure out how to do it because there's plenty of shots of the bayou by itself.
Right.
And so it's one of those things that's like if you have the length of time and experience, then you can have an ace up your sleeve like that, and everybody will go for it
Yeah.
because it's be cheaper for us to dig that hole and fill it with water and VFX out that 2 foot strip
Yep.
is to VFX the entire body of water
Yep.
on a stage.
Well, you never know now. Like I was like, is that all? I mean, it looks real to me. I mean, I'm fooled constantly by all of our
I
work.
mean,
So I
it's
was like, is that real?
it is real,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just
that's amazing.
one little strip of land is VFX out.
Um,
And yeah, that was sort of a safety situation.
well, yeah, I guess so. I guess your insurance on the actors was looking at everybody.
It was like, okay, let's not play around with the gators.
Yeah.
But I mean, the juke in itself was, one of those sets where it was like, and I think maybe a little bit my aesthetic is less is more a little bit because as a decorator, I did the more is more.
Yeah.
And I also feel like that, like you said, sometimes it's directors, sometimes it's DPs, sometimes it's decorators. Now, there's always a time when things are called to need that, right? Like
course.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Kevin Spacey's apartment in Seven, like you needed all that shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was telling
Yes.
the story of him being a serial killer.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? But in certain spaces, like I've worked as a decorator where they're like every inch of every wall and has to have something.
I know.
And then you watch some movies where it's not that, like Barton Fink.
Yeah.
Well, in the room, there's only one thing on the wall, right? You look at in the room that the Barton Fink was in the hotel room. There's like the one painting of the woman on the beach and the wall. That's the only thing on. That's brave. You look at King's speech, and Ann Schuler did the wall to end all walls, right? Of
The
all
wallpaper.
the layered
The
wallpaper.
wallpaper. Yeah.
But an Oscar just for that, honey.
Yeah.
It was
It's amazing.
there wasn't anything else on it, and there was only a chair in front of it.
Yeah.
Nancy Haig, same thing.
Nancy.
In almost every Nancy Haig movie, right? She
Yeah.
can do the and then she can pull way back. Big Fish, the little boy's room. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
3 little things on the wall and a bed and a dresser. That was it.
And
And
that
when
tells that story like that, but that's what we're trying to convey too with too much or too little. Like in the realism, it's when they break away from the realism of things and like, oh, we need to put something on this wall. Well, in reality, you're walking down a hallway. There's not a picture every 3 feet. Like I don't want to do it.
now if you're in the right house, there is.
Yeah.
Right story there is. So I never discount that, but it has to be in the right situation. It
Yeah.
has to be in the right place, you know? And I also like, you know, we always look at these films that we love and they're like, oh, it's so brave. But then you get on a film and then maybe everybody's not so brave.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, if you have a director that trusts you, you can do those things. You can be brave. You can say, I don't want anything on that wall because I know Autumn's good enough to shoot nothing on the wall. Know, and it's going to look fantastic because the art of it is the paint and the texture and what the wall is actually doing and the age of it. But sometimes you need a thing, right? So it's like you have to kind of weigh all of that, and I think that's what Monique did with everything. Is it is where it's supposed to be and it's not where it's not supposed to be, and that was what told the story. It also told the timeline story. It brings every set into the juke joint. For me the design of it was okay. There's every set is in there. Annie's tree, which Monique brought this giant thing. I was like, it's Annie's tree. I saw that big metal thing, I was like, yes, yes, and more yes. But when I saw that is when I realized everything else has to come in.
Right.
And that's when I did the white wall in the back room. And you know what I said? I said it out loud too. Because Ryan was like, is it ready to shoot? I'm like, Dan Schuler's wall. It's not there yet. It's no King's Speech yet. I can't shoot it.
Just give me an hour.
It's not ready. It needs 4 more layers and scraping and grinding, and then 6 more layers and scraping and grinding, and it won't be ready for. And then he's like, tomorrow, and I'm like, yeah, it'll be ready tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have it tomorrow, but not that wall.
But not that one.
And even he's like, no, he won't shoot that wall. And then when I'm not there, he's like, can we shoot that wall?
No.
Oh,
The in the juke joint as a build is this on stage or did you shoot inside that location that you built?
okay, so there is an interior stage that ended up being an exterior and an interior stage because we built the exterior on the stage. And then there was an exterior on location that was just supposed to be an exterior that also ended up being an interior.
So both.
So
Crisscross applesauce.
we built 2 kind of juke joints in a way.
Into. Because that camera move when he's playing his song and you're all through the space, which that's on stage. So he's just yeah. Because I was like, that's such a fluid movement through this space. I'm wondering, like, did you pulling walls as they go, or are you guys moving stuff? It's such a beautiful shot.
Build of the juke joint was the build of the juke joint, right? Like for me, I'm always like, well, I'm not going to build pieces of it. I'm going to build the entire thing. I mean, we built a building. We built a building.
Yeah.
So when you walk in, you can shoot whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, because it's all there. And so you don't have to cheat it. You don't have to move a wall. You don't have to do a thing because there it is. And we've discussed, the oneer, we discussed like everything that has to happen and the blocking. And, when Ryan and I were first even discussing it way back before he had the script completed, part of it was like me doing the research on how sawmills work, when sawmills were in the Mississippi Delta, north and south. What kind of revenue were they bringing into the state? What all the different sawmills meant, what they did, like who worked there, the whole thing. And then I did several different layouts of sawmills. So he could kind of, as he's writing, consider the interior and what he would need and not. So then when we both got to New Orleans, he sat down, he's like, well, what I need is a really much different than what you have. I just need the back room over here and then that over there.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Very good. Then was it was it scripted that the scene between the brothers and like that they can always look down? Because I love these shots when they're like up in the rafters, or did they move them up there since you gave that to them?
Yeah. And I love to give, right? Like that's so much fun.
Yeah.
And even if even if he would have never went up there, that second level was getting built.
Yeah.
It was like, because I know that if he didn't go up there to shoot a scene, you can shoot down.
Right. Right.
And I have to also kind of get in the mind of like, okay, I know them well enough to know that we're going to be in there the entire third act.
Right.
It can get boring
Yeah.
for everybody. And so what are we going to put into it to find the angles, to speak to the rest of the film and the movie and the character? Like, there was all this sort of like that we could do. And I was going to, do it. So that's kind of where that sort of thought came from, as far as let's just build. And I've done that with Ryan on almost every movie, is like build it all out so he has the freedom to do whatever he wants.
Yeah. I have to say too, I think the lighting is so fantastic in this film, and the warmness, the reds and then the blues, like you're constantly going back to that, back and forth. And I I love this outside shot because there's no fake moonlight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's no like, oh, they put the balloon over here. And you know what I mean? Like it's
That's right.
so great. And I love the warm light that you have coming through the windows and everything. And this constant contrast of the blue and the red, because one of the twins is wearing red, one is wearing blue. Was that also a part of your thinking in any of your color choices?
I mean, for me, the first sketches, I think Monique could see them, that I drew when I first started. Ryan was in the Bay writing, and he had talked me kind of through what all the sets were and what all the story was and who the people were and all this stuff. And then, I mean, honestly, I just kind of blacked out and went in a trance and drew a bunch of stuff and woke up and I was like, wow, look at that. I should take pictures and send it to Ryan. And I had put on all of those images red, white, and blue, right? The red of the juke joint, the blue of Annie's, and the white church. And it was our first sort of like dive into the color story
Mm,
in that larger sense. And then Monique came in and took that color story and played with it, and you'll see dots here and there, and it's so cool because the more you look, the more you see.
yes. Oh, they're absolutely, and especially with the characters. The
Yeah.
more the blues of the dead, and the life and the color and the people who were living, it's really fantastic. I would the second time that I watched, I really paid attention to that because I caught on to it when I was doing the other little video for it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing how it goes back and forth, and it's so in sync with the story. It's so great. It's really great. I've kept you an hour. I want to thank both of you. I get a little nervous with Oscar winners, so I hope I didn't dork out a little bit. And Monique, I told you, I say your name all the time. I just be like, oh, Monique Champagne. Like, I just think of your name all the time, oddly enough. So I'm thinking of you.
It should be said all the time
Yes,
because
it should. She's
phenomenal, and she's a hoot
fantastic.
to be around. I
Yeah.
love working with her. I'm like, I keep saying, like, I want to work with her forever.
Mhm.
Like, when you find your people, and we just laugh a lot. We have a good time, and she gets it. And I'm very comfortable with knowing that she is definitely a unique creative who can see beyond the pages.
Oh my god.
Well,
I'm gonna go hide now.
I think the two of you, you said you're gonna hide. I think the two of you are a phenomenal team, and congratulations on this. I just love the work. I love the film, and I love watching your work. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. I hope all is well, and hope to see you at some point. Wasn't that fantastic? I mean, those two ladies seem like they worked together seamlessly and had fun and built this whole film in the research and the builds and all of it working together to just to make a great looking film. And the color schemes, like the red and the blues, like I really got into that the second time I watched it. So it is something to look out for if you do watch it again. So I hope Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to speak to those ladies, and fingers crossed for them. It's a great looking film. So, as I said, we have 2 episodes left. Next week, Overcompensating and the film No Other Choice, and then ending the year with Avatar and maybe some top 5. Maybe everybody loves the top 5. So, yeah, and I have some announcements, but I can't really say anything. I know nobody cares at the end of the episode, but if you're listening this far, then you know something maybe a little big might be coming up. So there you go. Little tidbit for you, the long listening podcast listener. So I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did, and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening. I'm Kim Wannop for Decorating Pages.